Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice, not financial advisor. Do your research, make your decisions. Okay, guys, welcome back. So this is going to kind of be a follow-up from my last video, but I'm going to be going over other stuff as well. Everything happening in the crypto space, the market's in the shitter, sentiments in the shitter, and that's kind of the situation. But I want to start with this because I'm seeing a lot of emotional, ridiculous takes in the ecosystem, which is normal in times like this. But this is the crypto total market cap, excluding the top 10. All right. Now, this is oftentimes called others, but analysts use this chart to gauge where the altcoin market is. And it peaked in late 2021, early 2022, and it's been a downtrend ever since. So it's not just ICP. Outside of the top 10 and a few others, most everything else looks the same. And the people that are emotionally projecting all over ICP Twitter, they probably understand this, but they just can't help themselves. Okay. It's an indicator of people's real conviction that comes out in times like this. This explains it better than anything I could say. And this explains most of crypto Twitter better than anything I could say. Most people have nothing to say. There's no outside of the ICP space, there's no other outlook, thesis, model, anything on how we get to Web3. So what are any of these other foundations or communities going to be discussing? They can't get on camera and talk about how we're going to get to Web3 with their tech at the center of it because it's not technically possible. The last 3 or 4 years has been an exercise in avoiding important conversations. And so this is what it leads to. All the important conversations have been avoided over the last few years, and degen culture was pushed to the forefront, and now here we are. You know what I mean? And so we're still in make believe crypto time where all the all the public figures and all the important thought leaders in this, there are no thought leaders in this space. All the people who have been propped up as thought leaders over the last few years have either have their heads so far up their ass they can't see anything, or they're just deliberately avoiding the most important conversations because of their own financial incentives. Hard stop. Okay. Now, see a lot of panic all over the feed, whether it's in the ICP ecosystem or elsewhere, rightfully so for many different communities and different groups throughout the crypto space. But again, the ICP, the only model that makes sense on how we get to Web3 is through ICP. So it's the only thing that solved all the problems. That's why I have issues with like people, given this is what all alts, this is the chart for all alts outside of the top 10, which is always, ICP's always been out of the top 10 except for a brief moment in time. And so this is ICP's category. And the whole altcoin market outside the top 10 looks like this. But people want to give Dfinity shit. Dfinity is the only group of people in this entire space, and there's tons and tons and tons of teams that solve for all the problems. Period. But again, it all goes back to this. And people just have spent way too much time on crypto Twitter and not enough time doing real research. Are people in the concept of thinking differently? Okay, apply this to the entire crypto space. And to some degree, most of you have, if you're here, if you're in ICP and you found your way to the on-chain model, to some degree, you applied this concept to everything happening in the crypto space. But are people focusing on technology and important conversations? No, they're not. So you just following along with what everybody else is doing and what they're focusing on and what they're paying attention to and what they're panicking about. Again, you're just going to find yourself having an emotional breakdown all over social media, which is what a lot of people are doing right now. Yeah. Um, and and I've seen some stuff about people being concerned about there being some coordinated attempt to stop ICP. On some levels, I get that general outlook, but okay, so this group of people, these group of special interests come together to stop ICP. There is no other model for the future. Okay, so then what? There's no other model for the future. Nobody has any explanatory power with anything they're fucking saying. Hard fucking stop. If your outlook, if your model does not have a lot of explanatory power, then it's fucking nothing in this environment. It's just throwing shit at a wall. Oh, hey, maybe this. And that's all I see every day. It's just people throwing more shit at a wall. Come up with a real model, come up with a real thesis, be able to actually have real explanatory power, or shut the fuck up. Go do research. Go touch grass. Anything else? Um, okay. Also, um, if you were to remove ICP from this whole conversation, okay, you just don't have the necessary parts for Web3. It's you have nothing if you remove ICP from the conversation. You would just have to build another ICP. And I've just seen way too many things at the institutional level. But see, because the price hasn't moved, people in the ICP ecosystem have more or less just wrote things off as if they don't matter because price didn't move. That's how a lot of people think in this ecosystem. They're using, they're not even using third grade logic. And let's just say the different partnerships that happen with the United Nations, things like World Computer Day at Davos, stuff like that. That's what I'm seeing that tells me that this whole, oh, well, people are trying to stop ICP. Why? Why are people isolating ICP from the rest of the market that's performing almost identically and trying to like diagnose all these different things with ICP specifically? It's doing exactly what the rest of the alts are doing. Period. So this is just people with no foresight, no thesis, and they're just trying to come up with any and all explanations they can that might kind of make sense on the surface level, but don't explain anything else. That's why nobody in this ecosystem that ever does push all that bearish sentiment, that's why they never address me. Because they know they have no fucking clue what they're talking about and they don't want to get embarrassed publicly. That's why they avoid me. If they had a real case to make, they would fucking make it. But they don't. And so they just bang on their fucking keyboard all day long. And just it creates a lot of negative sentiment and energy and everything else. But in many ways, I'm kind of glad this is happening right now because people are starting to see who is who in the ecosystem. And people are either positively contributing to the conversation or negatively contributing to the conversation. And yes, there is a middle ground here, but I would also stress body of work, right? Yeah, because there's different times where I might do things that even I look back and say, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. That probably wasn't a very positive thing, or that didn't really have a positive impact. But over the entire body of work, overwhelmingly positive. And so people are either contributing in a positive way or a negative way. And so I would just start being able to identify where all the bullshit, the drama, and all that's coming from. There are people in this ecosystem. And if you really start paying attention to this, you'll start to see it that cannot and do not understand how to create sustained organic engagement on social media. So what they do is they create drama and noise because that gives them that engagement. Just start looking for the people that generate most of the drama and most of the noise. I get blamed for it a lot because a lot of times I end up addressing it after it's already been going on for a long period of time. But now I'm just going to sit back, not say anything. And because the less I say in times like this, the more clear a lot of things will start becoming to other people in the ecosystem. That's what I'm noticing. Because so many times when sentiment tanks, I'll just do video after video after video after video until sentiment starts to improve. But I realized what that was doing was it was masking a lot of problems in this ecosystem. And so I've been saying a lot less recently, and a lot of things are starting to come to the surface, and they're going to start being more visible to everybody in the ecosystem. Hopefully. Some people genuinely create noise, drama, FUD for their own engagement, for their own attention. And it happens more than you realize. Yeah. And okay, just because, let's go back. I'm just kind of jumping all over the place here. This is going to be like a random tangent. But when we go back to different things, different developments with the United Nations, different developments with Cambodia, Smart City, developments with Metalore, one of the largest precious metal refiners on earth, World Computer Day, stuff like that happening, just because that doesn't move price doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. Those are huge, huge signals and a huge green light from the institutional world, which is the world that I come from. And most people across all of crypto Twitter don't, guys, this is not one of those things. in life, experience matters. I hate to say it, but it's just the reality of the situation. Are you going to go to a garage, some car garage, some repair shop, and start talking to the repair guy like he's a doctor? Hey, I got this thing going on in my back or these problems over here. Can you check this out? No, you're not. Why? Because that's not what he does. He fixes cars. He's not a doctor. In many scenarios, real experience matters, and there's no substitute for real experience. And we have tons and tons of people just randomly talking out of their ass and have no clue what they're looking at. They're blind, trying to act like they're a serious person giving real analysis. That's the entire crypto space. Signal is still fighting a lot of the noise. Pierre made a post earlier. I retweeted this. I'm not going to read through all of this, but 12 out of 10 for this post. Just so many, so many great points in this one post. But this is the situation. At best, there's a 90 to 10% noise to signal ratio in the crypto space. Yeah. Also, and this really does tell me how like checked out and how I don't know the right word to use. Maybe that what was the term Robert Malone used to use? Was it him or was it the other guy? Mass formation psychosis. So the gentleman next to Trump is one of his technical advisors. Used to be like the CTO of the former administration. And he said openly, our technology can manipulate space and time. And while it did get some coverage, it should have gotten 1,000x more coverage, and it didn't. And I think that's just because people are so people have lost the ability to use logic and reason. It's the web itself, and I don't know how else to say that. People are losing the ability to use logic and reason. Like they can no longer pick through what's in their feed and what they're seeing when they open their phone. It's not like they have no ability to filter out trash and garbage information and find the signal. That might be one of the most important skills for people on Earth from this point forward is you have to be able to use the internet, use the web, and not become completely, not let it break you mentally, psychologically, everything. And that's what's happening to a lot of people, man. That's all that it is. Yeah. Like my brother doesn't panic and worry a lot about things that he sees on crypto Twitter because he's not on crypto Twitter. And some of you are lying to yourself. You're like, oh, I'm on crypto Twitter because I want to be up to date on everything. No, because you're not learning anything on here. All you're doing is looking for the next scary thing that you can start panicking about. Some people just like drama. Some people just like to live in that state of panic. Yeah. But notice the bear sentiment never comes from people. The bear, 0% of the bearish sentiment over the last 3.5 years, 0% of it has come from me. And so it's coming from somewhere. And so you might want to start like paying attention from like, where is this coming from? Where is all this negative energy coming from? Where is all this drama coming from? Where is this noise coming from? Just go look. It's not going to be me. Again, sometimes I get blamed for it just because I respond to different things, but it's not going to be me. Just pay attention to it and you'll start to see. It'll start to make more sense. This is what I was talking about like a few weeks ago when I said, if this market turns over, it might have even been like a month or two ago. If this market turns over, you're really going to start to see who's who has something to say, who doesn't have anything to say, where certain things are coming from, so on and so forth. Yeah. But okay, think different applied to this entire situation. Guys, listen, at the end of the day, whatever your outlook is, it needs to have real explanatory power. If it doesn't, you're wasting your time. You're just throwing shit at a wall. If you're going to spend any real brain capacity trying to make sense of this, then actually do that. Like you're wasting your own time trying to surface level this and just throwing shit at a wall with new explanations. Like maybe it's these unlocks, or maybe it's whatever, or maybe it's caffeine, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's just ICP is doing exactly what all the other alts are doing, and the market hasn't turned yet. And this market is 100% controlled and manipulated. And there's a 100-to-1 leverage trading market that can be used to suppress price and or shoot price up whenever they want. When I say whenever they want, I mean exchanges, market makers, whoever manages this market. But ICP's price action looks exactly like all the other assets that are outside the top 10. And here you go. The advancement of like all tech is dependent on these problems getting fixed. That's what people really don't get. Yeah. Like everything they talk about, like all of this is contingent on the problems being fixed in sequence. And the other model objectively doesn't solve anything. It doesn't fix those problems. And so that's why I have a hard time when I see people giving Dfinity shit because they're the only team that solved for all the problems. And the price of their asset looks exactly like the price of all of these other assets that are outside the top 10. If this looked drastically different, if this was like way up here and all these other alts were performing great and ICP was still down here, I might understand the position. But that's not the situation. But again, these people don't care. They have to do this. It's an impulsive thing. They can't stop themselves. But realistically, most people in this space have absolutely nothing to say. And the things that they do say has no explanatory power attached to it. Guys, in like the serious world where like serious people try to diagnose like serious problems, they look for explanations with the most explanatory power. They don't just throw shit at a wall every other day. But yeah, nobody's focused on tech. And it's like people succumb to the environment as opposed to just logically thinking through the necessary steps to put themselves in a good position. If you're learning nothing on crypto Twitter and all it's doing is causing panic and concern, get off of crypto Twitter and go do something else. Go do research. Go do all the research you should have done instead of just hanging out on crypto Twitter. The advancement of all tech is dependent on the medium, which is the web, which I can go over that in a different video. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot else to go over. This was just kind of a bunch of rambling and thoughts on different things. But guys, they're not bluffing when they say this, just so we're clear. I can't prove that they have this technology, but it makes sense to me. So if it makes sense to me and they're openly saying, yeah, we have this tech, and the science makes sense, it's like they're not bluffing. And things are going to get very crazy over the next 5, 10, 15 years. Very crazy. People's understanding of reality is going to be shattered. Period. And then through the lens of thinking differently, right? People in the ecosystem, I might have already said this, I don't know. People in the ecosystem are all rushing to go kind of do the same thing, right? There's just not a lot of serious independent voices having serious conversations about the tech and all of this moving forward. That's the problem. Is the conversation has been diluted so much in the crypto space. Again, they've avoided all the important conversations. There's a non-stop, ongoing exercise at all times in the crypto space to avoid the most important conversations. And so that alone creates noise and just worthless bullshit takes. Because people have to say something, they have to give updates. They kind of have to act like they're still moving everything forward, but they can't just come out and explain to everybody what's going on. That's the situation. Which is fine for the people who see it for themselves and who don't let popular opinion or the masses or don't become a product of their environment. But if you are likely to become a product of your environment, I would recommend getting out of that environment, aka getting off crypto Twitter. Not everybody is cut. Not everybody has the conviction or the mental strength to see all of this stuff and not be affected. The algorithm has zero impact on me. Zero. Exactly zero. None. But if it does with you, get off. Guys, that's all I have for this video. I don't even know if I'm going to post this because this was just a bunch of rambling, but that's it. That's all I got. Those are my thoughts for what it's worth. Not financial advice. Do your own research. Things are going to be okay, guys. Pause. Things are going to be okay. Yeah, things are going to be better than okay. There's nothing that's going to stop what's coming. The only thing that's going to stop what's coming is a world-ending event. Okay. Um, there are the biggest global like the biggest trends. Those are those are a million X more important than anything that you're going to see on crypto Twitter. Um, Data year over year, computational power year over year, cybercrime year over year, the money supply year over year, all of these major global trends, AI year over year. This is what is going to take us into the future. It's not going to be some random little thing that pops up in your feed or anything like that. Because you have to look at all the variables in order to come up with an explanation that makes sense once you include all the variables. You can't omit all of these variables and then try to just come up with explanations that don't explain those things. That's what people are trying to do. But that's what I would really look at is that all of the things that you're going to see, there's going to have no explanatory power. There's going to be no explanatory power with anything. It's just random. It's just people casting doubt. And I would be fine with people casting doubt on ICP as the hub for Web3 if they had any other, even a half-ass theory or outlook about what else is coming if it's not going to be this. If we're not moving into a Web3 with ICP at the hub, then what's your outlook? What's your thesis? Nobody has one. And for the last time, this is what the altcoin market looks like outside of the top 10. So ICP is just doing what all the other alts are doing outside of the top 10. And the people at Dfinity were the only people to solve for all the biggest problems on Earth. That's it. I'm done. Take care. Have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.